Thank you. My name is Jackie Bolt, and it's my privilege on behalf of the Board of Trustees to welcome you to this Kuyper College Gala. The college is celebrating 76 years, and every year we are amazed to watch and see how God works through people like you. We often talk about God's surprises and the amazing way He works out His plans. We recognize that God's mission for Kuyper is fulfilled because there is a Kuyper family that extends way beyond the walls of the college. We realize there's an extended community, those who pray consistently for the college, those who often send words of encouragement, and those who give generously of their time, talents, and treasures. We are grateful. And with humility, we say, God is good. I'd like right now to invite Ben and Cleo Boersma to the stage, if they would. Since 1997, the Board of Trustees has chosen one or more people each year who have partnered with the college in extraordinary ways to exemplify the mission of the college. To those people, we present the H.J. Kuyper Service Award. You'll find the list of other past recipients on your program. You may wonder why the board feels it's important to present this award. Well, I mentioned earlier that the Kuyper family extends beyond the walls of the college. And we are well aware of the alumni, of course, who have carried the mission forward to all parts of the world. In addition to that, there's an unbelievable number of friends of the college who have poured passion and prayers and financial resource into the college so that students can be educated and prepared to bring their faith and God's grace into the career path of their choice. So the board feels it's important to recognize that and to present this award to someone who displays the passion, because we clearly acknowledge that God provides through the college through people. Tonight we're recognizing Ben and Cleo Boersma as people who have demonstrated God's goodness to the college in a number of ways. They have exhibited their faithful support with quiet regularity. Their generosity has been graciously consistent for several decades. Ben and Cleo are people who have been part of the Kuyper community for many years. I would call them motivators and encouragers. Their words of grace have been extended to the board and administration at just the right time. Whether we are in challenging times or we are faced with new opportunities, they have demonstrated trust and confidence. They have never wavered in their support. They're prayerful people who have a deep sense of awareness about the needs of the college, and their generous response to those needs speaks volumes to our spirits. Speaking personally, I can't say enough about how that kind of trusting, prayerful support is needed and valued. Ben and Cleo, you are truly people of grace. And it's my privilege to extend to you the H.J. Kuyper Service Award.
Yeah, if I may just pass. And Ben and Cleo, you, along with the folks here, may be well familiar with how we represent the recognition that you are receiving this evening. And this rather large version of the candle that we give to each of our graduates every year is meant for you to take as a symbol of our affirmation of how we view you as a light in a needy world. You have certainly come alongside me personally, as well as the college as a whole, in so many different ways. The love and prayers with which you embrace us are astounding and a tremendous blessing to us. Ben, your experience and expertise in business and your service as a trustee of the college, as chair of our board for 4 years, was very instrumental in positioning us where we are today. And the values that you spoke to me and spoke into the college at that time are values we carry forward. And as we think of the future of the college, we treasure who you are and what you've been to us, both of you. You know, one other aspect of Ben and Cleo is that their love for the college extends to the love for their favorite activity, which is sharing golf together. Way back in, 1994, the two of you kicked us off with the Kuyper International Golf Outing. And you folks should know that through their efforts, that outing, which raises money for scholarships to assist our international students, that golf outing has raised $996,000 plus, nearly $1 million. So congratulations on that. By the way, the golf outing is coming up this summer. If Ken will be available to take your name, right, for foursomes, Ken? Okay, good. So Ben and Cleo, I'm going to, this is rather heavy and such, so I think I'm going to leave it up here on stage for others to enjoy during the course of the evening, but we'll certainly send it home with you. Cleo, flowers for you. So thank you, Cleo. We love you.
Oh, love you too, Nick.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
God bless, Ben. Thank you so much. Love you. Yeah. Care to share a word?
Well, first of all, a good evening to all the Kuyper College people who are friends at the college, as we are too. And this really starts back a lot of years ago, many years ago. My parents, Marcus and Martina Boersma, had an interest in and involvement with the students at Reformed Bible Institute. They enjoyed entertaining them, these students, in their home. And now it's quite an experience to look back at all those years since then. Since then, we have been blessed to enjoy an involvement with the college, Kuyper College. I was first invited to serve on the board when we were living in Kalamazoo. Later, I was chosen to serve as the treasurer. One of the first meetings that I attended as an officer was to participate in a Bible college accreditation process. A team of faculty and administrators from various Bible colleges evaluated our board. The chair of that team made this statement: the board has 3 significant responsibilities. They are financial, recruitment, and wisdom in giving good direction. And I believe our board honored that advice. Personally, Cleo and myself chose to begin an international scholarship golf event. We have enjoyed more than 20 years with that involvement. And what a blessing to hear from the students who have been the recipients of this fund, and Nick said the rest. And students from over 50 countries have benefited from this fund. We're grateful for the opportunity to carry on a vision, and that vision is supporting Kuyper College, using the gifts God has given us.
Sometime back, Nick and Gloria gave us a book, the title of which is Portraits of the Word by calligrapher Timothy Batts. In this book, there is an illustration depicting the words of Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20, where Jesus issues the Great Commission. Go and make disciples of all nations, and be sure of this, I am with you always. God is blessing Kuyper College as it responds to the Great Commission with a consistent, ongoing, growing witness in this community and around the world. It is a privilege and honor for Ben and I to be associated with and identified with Kuyper College at this special event. We're thankful.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Ben and Cleo, for sharing this evening with us, sharing your lives with us, for helping us along our way as we strive to carry out our mission well. Ben and Cleo and others that are mentioned in the program as past recipients of the H.J. Kuyper Founder Service Award really are people who stand as examples of all of you here this evening, and many who have gone before you. People who have been stirred by the Spirit of Jesus Christ to catch a vision for making a significant difference in the world for the honor of God's name. The lives you have touched extend beyond the students that you have supported in many different ways. The lives you have touched extend to communities in remote areas of Africa, of South America, of Asia, and of China. The lives you have touched are bringing to life the church in a new and vibrant way around the world. And so it's in that spirit that I am so grateful to see all of you here this evening and to welcome you to this event, which is a celebration of God's goodness and His blessing, that He has enabled us to share together a beautiful mission of making His name known throughout the world. And you are helping carry that out in an excellent way. And we at Kuyper College are so glad to be your partners in that work in God's kingdom. I'd like to share with you just briefly an update of the institution before we enjoy the meal that we have together, and just highlight a few things that we have been processing during the course of this year, as well as some things that we have to look forward to. You know, in the last few years, there have been some major shifts in higher education. The leadership team, the board of the college, have been reading reports and studying trends that are occurring in society. And one thing the experts all agree on is that the realm of higher education is going through a drastic change. The advice of many counselors is that unless institutions are mobile, are open to change, and ready to be creative and think of new ways of carrying out their educational mission, those institutions will cease to exist. Not just the private Christian smaller institutions, but major institutions as well. Some of these concerns that we have, for example, are the continuing efforts of the federal government to take over accreditation of higher education. We're concerned about that as a Christian institution, because that means that the biblical values that we hold so dear and essential to an institution like Kuyper College may be challenged if we seek to be accredited by a federal government that would challenge our biblical values. And so we wonder, how do we position this institution? How do we do that well so that we can continue on with our mission in a way that can rise above those challenges and thrive? Other challenges we face are due to the economy. Another challenge is the more diverse educational offerings that students can avail themselves to, whether through distance education or increased no-cost programming at community colleges that we are seeing develop. And so we at Kuyper College have been asking ourselves, what can we do now, what ought we be doing to position the institution well for such a future. And we have made the decision that we will focus on the traditional strengths that have been proven so vital to the lifeblood of the institution, from Reformed Bible Institute to Reformed Bible College to Kuyper College today, and to what we will be in the future. We truly treasure our mission that enables us to bring a biblical Reformed worldview into the classroom to vitalize what students are learning and to send them out energetically to engage the world for Christ's name. Our desire is to further that purpose by going deeper into what we consider the strengths of our institution in areas of ministry and service. And so many of you are aware that we made some decisions this year which focus us down more specifically into those areas of strength, which means there are some things we will not continue to do. But we do continue to desire and to plan for strategically ways that we can strengthen the college that will draw more people to see their calling into service for Christ as something they can more satisfactorily complete in the context of Kuyper. We are awfully proud of the faculty, of the staff, and of the students that we have to serve at Kuyper. We're tremendously proud of the graduates who have gone forth, serving in over 50 different countries to bring God's grace into very diverse cultures, to engage in inner city communities where there is such an astounding surprise that comes across the face of many who realize that there is opportunity, that there is hope in their lives, and that if an institution like Kuyper can come alongside them, they can begin to impact their communities and this world for the sake of Christ and for the betterment of those people who are in those communities. You folks are the ones who help make this possible. We cannot carry out our mission without your support, without your prayers, without your encouragement, without your understanding. It was a pleasure for me to walk around before the gathering this evening and have opportunity to talk with several of you about the changes occurring at Kuyper, and to hear many of you volunteer before I would say anything. We think you're on the right path. Be strong. Move forward. Thank you for that encouragement. It means a lot to us to hear that directly and personally from you. And so as we are gathered here as friends, know that I do not take that lightly. You are a gift to us. Your prayer, your encouragement, your financial support, but your shared vision and sense of partnership with us are what make this an astounding event, which make our work at Kuyper College all very worthwhile, because we realize that as those of us connected with Kuyper look out and see the faces here, we realize we are connected with a much broader community that, along with us, cares deeply about our desire to bring God's grace into today's culture. So we thank you for that. Ask that you thoroughly enjoy this evening of celebration. We will have prayer, and we will have an enjoyable time with our meal before we turn to the rest of this evening. And so if you would all please join me now in prayer. Father in heaven, indeed, it is a great joy to be gathered together here this evening. We thank you so much for the light and life that you give us in Christ Jesus, for the blessings we have received so abundantly from your hand. Certainly we at Kuyper feel that as an institution, that you have enabled to raise up many people to go out into your field of service. Father, thank you for guiding us along our way, that we can look back upon a history of 76 years and see that blessing, that we can consider the strength of the institution, the debt-free nature that we enjoy, the endowment that people have contributed to that puts us in good standing. And Father, most of all, that we can appreciate in the words of Christ from Matthew 5, that we are the light of the world, and that we can challenge our graduates with that vision of being a light in the world that they will be entering, and that we can recognize people like Ben and Cleo for the light they have been to us. But then also in the words of Paul in Philippians that states, we are like stars in the universe. A description that is so clear in helping us picture what it is for people who live in absolute darkness to finally see hope and help come into their lives. Thank you, Father, for helping us to be part of that kingdom call. I ask your blessing now upon this food and drink and fellowship that we have to enjoy together, and commend our entire evening to you in the joy of Jesus Christ. Amen. Now, you may ask, why Doug DeVos, president of Amway Corporation since 2002? And what does he have to do with Kuyper College? Kind of on different pages, you know, major global for-profit corporation and small but very effective Kuyper College doing its thing in the world. Well, what commends Doug to us clearly is first and foremost his love for Christ. Permeates everything that he does. It was fun for me some time ago to read the background material on Doug and Maria's foundation, where they highlight that what they are doing in service to the Lord. So that first of all is what brings Doug to our attention. That here is somebody who has had tremendous experience and success globally, who has a Christian worldview perspective on how you engage a global society, not just for the sake of your corporation, but fundamentally for the sake of Christ. At Kuyper College, we would say that our business, what we are about, is bringing God's grace into today's culture. At Amway Corporation, Doug, I think you would say you are bringing opportunity to people as the driving force of what you do. A common purpose of our products, whether they're graduates or business opportunities, is to better the lives of others, and is not just an end unto itself. The other thing that commends Doug to us is, I know, his propensity, and something that we have been learning along our way, of keeping the first thing the first thing, of knowing what your mission is, of knowing what your identity is, and sticking to it. Do what you do best, and focus all of your energy, your resources towards those endeavors. The other thing that commends Doug to us is that we each empower people to use well their God-given gifts in whatever area that God has placed them, so that we can affect the lives of others to bring help and hope where such is needed. We each strive to engender enthusiasm, engagement, commitment, involvement in the world at many different levels. I think it's a wonderful attribute and tribute to Doug and Maria that their foundation is primarily looking to come alongside the disenfranchised, people who really feel they don't have an option in life, to show them where there is hope and possibilities for their lives. So in so many ways, the spirit that drives Doug and Maria is the spirit that drives us at Kuyper College. We feel an affinity because we see need in the world, and we are enthused to engage it. We are enthused to engage it because it is the calling, the responsibility, and the joy that Christ has given us. And so we do so with great enthusiasm and excitement. And so, Doug, you are here because you are a brother in spirit with every person here. And so I welcome you to the podium and to engage this company of friends who would like to hear from you on what it is to live as Christ's example in the world. So would you please help me welcome Doug DeVos. Thank you so much.
Well, it's an honor to have a chance to be here with all of you tonight and to celebrate the tremendous work of Kuyper College. Ben and Cleo, to you, where are you guys over there? Congratulations to you on your award and on your recognition of the service that you've given to this organization and the commitment that you've made. And as your comments reflect and as your lives reflect, you know that that's shared by all in this room and many who may not even be here tonight. That there are so many who are involved and engaged in this school who allow it to be what it is and help it to continue to grow and to look forward. So this is a wonderful time. And every time we're kind of at an event or a celebration like this, you know, there's always this wonderful opportunity to get together and just simply celebrate. And that's great. And it's kind of to Nick's words, to kind of put a face on it a little bit, to just talk about the blessing that I've had to be a child or to be connected to Christian education, to seeing what happens in the world when people put their foundation in Christ and then try to live their lives accordingly, even if we're not perfect, and even if we make mistakes, when we make mistakes. But we continue to move forward. You know, I was a child who watched that in my parents, watched their commitment, watched what they did. And I grew up in an environment, in a community with so many of their friends that I got to know and continue to watch how they lived their lives in the world. And you saw that what they did in private and what they did in public was the same thing, because that's who they were. And it's important to be able to recognize that people put that together purposefully. Now, it may look a little different from time to time. I remember after my wedding, we were in the receiving line, and Grandpa Vanandel, Jay's dad, James, came to me, and you know, pretty gruff, pretty straightforward, and he looked at me and Maria, he said, "Go with God, boy." I said, "Yes, sir, Grandpa Vanandel." I said, "Yes, sir, we will." I'm like, you know, what did I do? You know? He was straightforward. He lived his life that way. And I have so many other countless examples. And there's another friend, Billy Zioli. I don't know if some of you may know Billy Zioli, who was head of gospel films and gospel communications after that, who's been a mentor and a friend to me. And his ministry, really the outreach that they had, was pretty dramatic. And really the story of his father, his conversion in a prison. His father, Anthony Zioli, was a criminal in the streets of Philadelphia who was converted in prison and became the walking Bible, became this strong voice for Christ. And I remember talking to Z, saying once, you know, Z, gosh, I feel like I've missed something. You know, I've been in a Christian home, kind of in this contained environment the whole time. I miss really those conversion stories. Maybe I should have had something like that. And he stopped and he said, "You don't ever want to be in a place like that. You don't ever want to be disconnected from Christ. You want to live your life there. You are so blessed to have that experience, and all the people that he had known who had gone through that conversion and found Christ just talk of the hurt and the pain that was there before they made that transition." So the mission that we have, that you have at Kuyper College, is the work that is done by all the faculty and administrators and everyone involved with the school, all of you as supporters, and certainly the students, to be equipped, to be grounded with those Christian values and that worldview, and then be able to live that every day is a fabulous mission. And so it's indeed a tremendous honor for me to have a chance to be here and share a couple thoughts about that tonight. You know, I want to transition a little bit, because as we work on that mission, as we take the time to gather here and celebrate all that's been accomplished, it's easy to stay in the celebration mode. And it's easy to be in the anniversary looking back mode and sharing all the wonderful stories. And that is a fabulous part of events like this. But I wanted to spend a little time tonight building on that, adding to that, not diverting from it, just adding to it. And making sure we spend a little time tonight as well looking forward and wondering together about what God has in store for this school and how we can all be a part of it. So I want to share a couple things, and Nick, you're right. You know, there's a lot of similarities between Amway and Kuyper College, right? We have a lot of connectivity, and we do, because this is an organization of people. This is an organization that has connections all the time, and it relies on people to do the work that God's called us to do and to move forward. We try to do the same thing at Amway. But as we celebrate our past and as we live in our present and look forward to the future, I just maybe want to share a couple thoughts about how we might want to think about that tonight and how we might want to look at it a little bit for this school, but especially for you and your role and your connection to this school. In the Amway business, my father would always talk to a lot of folks about different stages you go through in business. And he called, you know, he had this process that he kind of talked about. You know, there's kind of 4 stages that you go through in business. Well, you start in the build stage. Everything's new. Every risk is worth taking because you got nothing to lose. You're that entrepreneurial spirit. You got an idea, you're passionate, you go after it, and you just build, and you don't care about the facts. You don't worry about anything, and you just move forward. That's a glorious time for any business or any organization to be part of, because it's exciting, and it's dynamic, and it's fun. He called that the build stage. And then as you've built something, at one point you kind of wake up and you go, how am I going to take care of this? How are we going to keep it going? You got to have a management. You got to have a structure. You got to have some way to hold it all together. And so you enter into this other stage of business and where you kind of get there and you spend a lot of time thinking about, I don't know, what's the health plan for the employees that are here? And how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pave the parking lot of where people are going? So who gets the right parking space? And does somebody get an office or a new desk or not? And you spend all your time kind of in this and you kind of forget about the world outside. Now, that's part of any big organization or any organization that exists. It's just a matter of scale. Every organization has to have something that holds it together, people that look after those things. But he always talked about the danger is that you stay in that management stage too long. And what you want to achieve is a balance. You want to achieve a healthy balance between that enthusiasm and that looking forward to the future and having that vision and about where we want to go and what we want to do and what we're going to accomplish, as well as, well, how we're going to build the foundation strong enough so that we can actually do it. We can actually make a product. We can actually deliver a product. We can actually do what we're talking about doing, and how do those things stay together? And he just observed that many times organizations kind of get stuck in the second stage. And if you get stuck and you stay there too long, there's a couple other stages that tend to follow. You tend to kind of be in a situation where the organization isn't doing as well as it was supposed to be doing. So there becomes a tendency to kind of defend yourself against what's going on and to kind of put up some barriers and walls and kind of defend the actions that you take. And we've done this at Amway so many times. You know, well, it's not our fault. You know, we're kind of looking after these sorts of things. We're defending ourselves. We're doing everything we can. We're working hard. We have this plan. We have this strategy. And sometimes it doesn't work. You defend yourself against people who are attacking you. Especially, we love, class action lawyers in our business are just awesome, right? I mean, they see a lot of people. Wow, we're just the biggest target you can imagine. Governments love us too. And you got to kind of get into that state. You defend yourself because you feel everyone's kind of attacking you. So when you stay in that second stage, you kind of get into a spot where the building stage seems like a distant memory. You're working hard, but not quite getting the results that you want. And then he kind of went on to say, if you stay in that stage too long, you kind of get to the fourth stage, which is a blame stage. Now, it's always interesting how people take this. Some people use it very creatively. I heard somebody here locally who said whenever they had a problem as an organization, they had to blame somebody. So there's one person on the management team that was designated as the person who screwed up. And no matter what it is, they would just raise their hand and go, okay, my fault, I screwed up. Good, your fault, now we can get down and solve the problem. But that's not normally the case. Normally, people just like to blame someone else for their challenges, blame someone else for the troubles that they face. Usually, these people run for public office, right? I don't mean that well, maybe in a slightly negative way. But it's kind of a stage you get into. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. And sometimes I remember reading a piece once, the negative advertising and that stuff means that either way, you're going to elect a terrible person. Because if you believe what's been said on either side. And as you live through campaigns or if you've been in organizations where that's happened, that's a tough place. And sometimes when you're there, you can't find your way back to that building stage again. And so his message was always to stay focused on the building stage, stay focused on the vision, stay focused on the values, stay focused on the mission. And what a beautiful thing at Kuyper College that focus has never wavered. That you know who you are and you know why you do what you do at this school. So you have an opportunity to stay in the build stage. And I want to encourage you tonight. You're here tonight because you're builders. And I want to just simply through this time together renew that commitment. And maybe just offer a couple thoughts about how you may want to look at it. Because we go through this all the time in our business. We're always at different stages. And I kind of joked and I kind of wrote down earlier as well, Kuyper and Amway, we're the same. We're both on a journey. We have a long history. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our goods, we've had our bads. We're all on a journey going somewhere as an organization, as a school, as a business. Where are we going? How are we getting there? Are we doing well? Are we not doing as well as we want to do? Where are these stages? And how do we look to our core group of leaders, our core group of supporters, people who are committed to the organization? How do we look and think about this? Well, I want to give a few thoughts as you think about the school and to think about maybe where the journey is at the moment, where you've been, and celebrate those things, and then maybe where you want to go. Well, I think the first thing that you want to think about is to say, where are you really? Where are you? I think Nick did a wonderful job of talking about the challenges that are happening out there in the marketplace. There's some challenges that we face as an organization. The marketplace is difficult. There's always something new and changing. It's not like a sports game where the clock runs out or the walls are well defined. Something new is going to come at you in a different way, and you have to respond. The next generation of students is always going to be looking for something a little bigger, better. What's the next deal you can kind of find? How are we going to respond? Where are we really? Strengths and the challenges. I'd encourage you to continue that conversation, engage enough to ask those questions, engage enough to wonder yourself, engage enough to be connected with the real challenges of any situation. And certainly the challenges that this institution and our company face. Now, we look at those and we are optimistic. We always say at Amway, we never have problems. We just have challenges. We're just optimistic, right? Everything's positive. Oh, we're going to get through it. And we did that a lot. We've done that a lot. And then the next day you go, well, it got worse. Oh, no, we're going to get through it. There's just so much you can do with a positive attitude. At some point, you got to go, hey, wait a minute. We got to figure out where we are. Where are we really? Our family is also involved in the Orlando Magic NBA franchise. And I don't know if any of you follow basketball very closely, but you may notice, if you do, that the Orlando Magic hasn't been doing very well. Now, in business, when you're trying to figure out where you are really, you can kind of fake it a little bit. You got a little time, you got some financial reports here and there, but you can look at it differently. You can talk about trends. But when you go on a 3-game losing streak, it's national news. You can't avoid too much your record at the end of the day. So we get a very interesting status report on a regular basis after every game and after every season. But where are we really? Where are you really in your connection to the school? Is it at a strong point or moderate point or a low point? Why? Why is it there? You're a core supporter, a core leader, a piece of the heart of this organization. And a piece to help us stay in that building stage, that building mindset. We talk about a worldview, a Christ-focused biblical worldview in our life. Where's your view on yourself and your connection to this school? It's a tremendous foundation. When you look at yourself, really, you see the strengths as well and the challenges. Where are we really? Well, the second thing I'd encourage you to say if you're at a spot that maybe you don't want to be as a supporter or as somebody who's engaged with the school is to remember that you're never stuck. So at Amway, we've had a lot of chances to be in some tough spots. We've looked back at different spots where we've looked at ourselves that we're not where we want to be. That, the business is better than this. We did that in 2007. We just said, the business is better than this. We're not doing so good and the future doesn't look so good. We're better than this. Darn it, we got to do better. And we had to realize we weren't stuck. And that's a lesson I learned from my father many years ago. He drilled into my head on a regular basis. You're not stuck. You're never stuck. And he told us stories about growing up in the Depression and the challenges that they faced. And how despite the difficult circumstances, his father would always say to him, it's going to get better. We're going to get through this. There's going to be a brighter future. But he also remembers the challenges that they faced. My grandpa lost his job, like so many others at that time. They lost their home. They moved into the upper room, attic area of my great-grandparents' home. And my dad tells a story of a young man coming to the door one day to sell a Liberty magazine. And the little boy was, he is a boy, really. He came to the door and he was crying. He said, "Sir, I need to sell this magazine. I want to sell you this magazine, and I can't go home until I sell them all." He said, "It only costs a dime." And my dad had to watch his father say to the boy, he says, "Young man, I'd love to buy your magazine. I'd love to help you. But I don't have a dime. I can't help you." Many of you have those memories. Many of you have experiences of similar challenge. But at the same time, the same person who didn't have a dime, my grandfather would continue to say to my dad, "It's going to get better. We're going to get through this." Even if you're stuck in a tough spot, you're not stuck there forever. A tough place is only a current situation that you're going to work through to get to something better. The challenges that we face in the marketplace today, the challenges that the school is looking at, the things that are happening where you are in your place in life, you're not stuck. You've got a chance to move through to get to where you want to go. Well, the third thing I want to talk about that I'd suggest is that, let's set some real goals. Let's have a vision. Let's articulate what that means for this school, for our organization. We did this. We went through this a few years ago. As I said, a number of years ago, we were really frustrated with where we were. We tried to take the time, Steve and I did, to say this is the reality. We're in a tough spot here. We're not doing as well as we want to do. And we committed to ourselves, say we're not stuck. We're not just going to accept this. We need to set some real goals. And we looked at ourselves, we looked at the marketplace, we looked at the opportunities, we did a bit of evaluation, and we threw a little luck and hope in there too and said, we think we can double the business in the next 5 to 7 years. And we started to put it out there. We think, here's what we can do in this market, here's what we can do in this market, here's what we can do over here with this product range. We tried to put some of those pieces in place and tried to work our way through to get to where we thought would be a better place. And it's amazing. You know, we kind of almost surprised ourselves that we actually made progress. Real goals, tangible goals. Here's what we want to achieve. Here's where we want to go. What's that look like for you? Again, I'm kind of, forgive me for mixing it up a little bit, right? Because we talk about the school as an organization, as an institution, but I also want to talk about you as a supporter, as somebody who's vitally important to this school. The collective we or the individual you, however we want to look at it, both are important. Because all of us are needed to be part of the future of this school and where it's going to go. The vision, building on the values, building on the foundation. And at a university like this, at a school like this, when you know God's presence is here, and He's been faithful to this school, you can put more than a little hope into it. We can set goals for ourselves. We can put faith into it. We can build it on trust because we know God is faithful. So we can dream big dreams. We can set big goals. We can challenge ourselves to do great things and to continue to equip these students to serve Christ in our world. I think those things are important for us to remember as an organization, as a leadership team, but as individuals as well. And that kind of gets me to the fourth thing. That when we're at an event like this and we're celebrating together and we're looking back on those memories, and if I've been successful to try to encourage you to look forward a little bit, I want to make sure you look at yourself. Because it all starts with you. It's all going to start with you. The decisions you make about your engagement, about how you're going to use your time, talents, and treasure to be part of this organization, to be part of this institution, to take it forward. Now, I got to hand it to you in so many ways, but especially for a fact for coming to a dinner like this when you know you're going to be asked for money. All right? I mean, now that's commitment. And you know what's happening. That you're here. You're ready for it, aren't you? You're kind of geared up, all set. But nothing happens in any organization until the leaders make a decision to make it happen. And again, I'm talking in both terms, the collective leadership group, all of you who are assembled here, and like I said, others who are committed to this school but may not be here exactly tonight, all of you are important. But there won't be a collective decision. It will be a number of individual decisions about your role, about how you feel led in your responsibility, in your connection, in your engagement with the school. As I think of Amway and the stories that we went through, when we looked at where we weren't happy in that spot. We recognized that we weren't stuck. We wanted to go somewhere else. We set some real goals for ourselves. And Steve and I began to talk to the organization about what we wanted, what we were looking for, what we were hoping for. And we thought we did a great job talking. But nothing happened. And finally, Steve and I had to look at it ourselves and say, they're not going to listen to what we say. But they might follow us when we start doing things differently. We had to look at ourselves and say, we have to be different. We have to act differently. We have to make different decisions. We have to make tougher decisions that we've been avoiding or trying to get away from, or challenges that we didn't want to step up to. We're going to have to look at the organization with some new eyes. If we really want to go to those goals, are we willing to do the things necessary to get there and to achieve it? So we had to go and make some painful decisions. We had to make some decisions about people. We had to make some investments over here. We had to take some risks that previously we weren't comfortable with, but we thought we might have to do if we wanted to actually achieve the goals. We had to get out of our box. We had to get out of our previous mindset. We had to step out in faith a little bit if we wanted to achieve something different. And so I'd encourage you tonight to think about your role in this school. What's it mean to you? What are the things you might want to do differently or think about differently, or the perspectives that you may want to challenge yourself on if you've held them for a long time? How do you want to maybe see a different future, a brighter future, a better future, or a higher level of engagement or involvement, whatever it may be? What's that look like to you? Well, I just thought it was, as I prayed about this and continued to reflect on this opportunity to be here with all of you, I felt it was important for us to connect at that level. To see ourselves collectively, to celebrate our past, but also to understand our independent, our individual roles and responsibilities with this organization for the future. You know, there's a lot of students who've done many great things that have left the school. Some are more well-known than others. But if they've stayed true to this mission, then they're impacting lives for Christ. There's a new generation of students that isn't here yet. And they are looking for this similar opportunity to be equipped, to form and shape a worldview in their mind and their life that allows them to impact the world for Christ. And they're going to need Kuyper College to be the best that it can be. They're going to need a group of visionaries. They're going to need a group of leaders like all of you to see the vision and to maybe take a decision that you hadn't thought about yet. A number of years ago, I had an interesting opportunity at Amway to move to Europe. I was new in my career. Just kind of started in a training program just out of college. Maria and I had just gotten married, no kids. We just had a dog. That was it. That was our big adventure into having a family. And my brother Dick said, why don't you go to Europe? If you really want to learn the business, you got to get out of Ada. You should go somewhere and go do it. And I said, I don't think so. And I made the mistake of telling Maria about the conversation, and she said, that's great, when do we leave? And I said, no, do you really want to go? I didn't think you'd want to go. Do you want to go? And the reality was I was scared. I didn't want to go. I was nervous. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know what to do. I was an idiot traveling overseas. I liked it here. I was comfortable. I just want to stick around. Well, guess who won that battle? Maria. She wins them all, and she's usually right. So it's a good thing for our marriage. As I was getting ready to head over on that assignment, I had a little time to talk to Javen Andel. And he said, come on in, I want to talk to you a little bit. And we chatted about the assignment, what was going to happen, what was going on, and kind of how to think about things and how to prepare myself a little bit. And then he said something in the midst of the conversation that I've never forgotten that just struck me. He said, Doug, kind of paused and looked at me and said, you know what? I'm really counting on you to do a great job over there. And I can see him saying those words, and at the time my mind kind of just stopped. And I thought to myself, like, really? You're counting on me? Do you know that I'm scared to death? Do you know that I tried to turn this down? Do you know that I was trying to avoid this at any cost? Now you know for sure that I don't know what I'm doing, right? Counting on me? Luckily, I was smart enough to keep those things in my mind and not actually say them. But I thought about them. And after we completed our assignment a couple years later and we were coming back, I reflected on that meeting. And I realized that Jay wasn't just talking to me. And he wasn't just talking about my assignment. He was expressing his values. He believed in people. Doug, I'm counting on you. Now, those students that aren't here yet, students that are currently attending, they may not use those words. They may not have the opportunity to be with you directly. But I think the words are relevant. And if they were here and if they were on the stage, I think they'd say the same thing. They're counting on you. Counting on you to provide leadership in this organization. Counting on you to be committed and engaged. Counting on you to consider how to use your time, talent, and treasures in a way to help make this universe, this school, Kuyper College, better. Counting on you. What an awesome opportunity that God gives us to be in a place like this, to be with a school like this, to be with people like this, to be serving a mission like this. And if those students were here today, they'd say, we're counting on you. And with God's grace and with His faithfulness, I know we won't let them down. Thanks, everybody. God bless.
I should have just let you do my part too, Doug. Thank you. It was a wonderful message of hope and a wonderful testimony. We appreciate it. Christ has died. Christ has risen. Christ will come again. Will you please say that with me? Christ has died. Christ has risen. Christ will come again. Amen. Thank you. Chuck Colson, in his book, The Faith, considered this to be the heart of the gospel. It is certainly the heart of what binds us together as a community. It is our common ground. It is our shared source of hope in the future. It is our core belief in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, who is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This good news is the very reason for the existence of Kuyper College. For 76 years, our college has been faithful to our mission statement, to equip students with a biblical, reformed worldview to serve effectively Christ's church and His world. Throughout, we've been educating, training, and equipping students to have an impact in God's world. Carefully, yet deliberately, ensuring that within the context of our professional majors, the Bible remains central throughout, in the midst of high-quality academics and a reformed worldview. Evidence of this truth is provided by our alumni, as they are living lives of service, bringing God's grace into places and cultures in over 50 countries around the world. Tonight is a celebration of God's faithfulness and care. It is also an opportunity for us to affirm and support our students and our mission. Tonight, our goal is to raise at least $160,000 for our annual fund. Thanks to this evening's sponsors, who you've seen in the program and scrolling on the screen, every dollar we raise tonight will go directly toward that goal. What are those dollars used for? Well, they're really part of a larger $1.2 million goal that we have this year, ending our fiscal year June 30, annual fund that provides valuable resources for a lot of different reasons. It helps to keep Kuyper affordable. Your donations help us to charge up to $6,000 less than comparable Christian colleges at what we will call retail. Your donations also help us to provide additional financial aid to students with college-funded scholarships. Your donations will help us provide the quality academic and other support services that are necessary to help our students successfully meet the demands of a college environment. They also help us to provide the professional development opportunities for our faculty and staff so they may continue to have mastery in their fields to be able to serve our students well. They allow us to explore new program opportunities and new internship opportunities for our students. And they allow us to maintain a beautiful 30-acre debt-free campus down the Beltline. And those are all very, very good things. They are all important to making a Kuyper College education accessible, affordable, and of the highest quality for our students. As President Cruzy mentioned earlier, we're entering a new era full of challenge and promise. With our gifts tonight, let us affirm the college's faithfulness to the original ideals and needs that compelled its founding in 1939 and has since guided its increased capacity, influence, and development for over 76 years. Let us also affirm the worthiness of our mission, the ambition of our vision, and the timeless nature of our core values as we serve Christ Church. So with that said, in your programs this evening, there were little cards and envelopes like these. And so I'm going to ask you to pull those out and complete those at this time. I will draw from Doug's comments. Tonight it begins with you. We love this community. We are so grateful to have this community of support. And we need you, as Doug said, individually and corporately to help us achieve our mission and our vision. So I'm going to give you a moment to complete those. You can just, when you're done with them, just leave them on the table. We have folks that will come through right after this event and pick them up, so don't worry about that. In a moment, we are going to close our evening with 2 songs presented by the Kuyper College Choir. But I have 2 things to do first. And one of them, I've been told, is very, very important. The centerpieces on the table can be taken. Now, the flowers can be taken. We rent the glass parts and the ceramic parts. So, and some of them, like the big tall ones, if you need help, we'll have help for you. But those flowers come right out of there, I guess. I haven't seen it happen yet. But the point is, you may take those home. Now, if the table sponsor is there, they get first dibs. After that, I don't know, rock, paper, scissors, however you want to decide. The second thing I want to do is I want to thank some folks. Nick, President Cruzy, I want to thank you for your leadership and your steady hand on the tiller as we navigate new waters in higher education. Doug, thank you for your message. And if I would have known, I would have had you do this part. Ben and Cleo, I've gotten to know you over the last 9 years. Congratulations on the award tonight. I have come to know you as gentle spirits with huge hearts and such diligent commitment to wanting to see us do well and trying to help us in any way possible to do so. So thank you for that. And again, I want to thank our sponsors because of their commitment. Every dollar you commit tonight will go directly to that $160,000 goal. And finally, I want to thank the members of the advancement team, because while I get to stand up here and talk to you, there are a lot of folks that work behind the scenes and make this all happen, and I'm grateful to them and the hard work they do. And that's Teresa Jansen, Hannah Skierbeck, Alyssa Blum, and Roger Bauma, and then also our two student workers, Carmen and Hannah as well. And so, thank you. Yes. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here, for being a part of the Kuyper community, for right now, after Doug's comments, trying to decide how can we get more involved. Those cards that you have also talk about other ways you can get involved. We covet your prayers. We look for volunteers in different ways. We need your referrals for students. Talk to us. If you have any kind of prompting that you want to get more involved than you are, feel free to talk to us. There's no commitment there. We'd love to engage with you and talk to you about that. So, with that said, we're going to close our evening with two numbers by the choir. And so it is my privilege to present the Kuyper College Choir under the direction of Dr. Carol Hochholter.
For this reason, ever since I heard of your faith in Jesus Christ and your love for all God's people, I have not stopped giving thanks for you, remembering you in my prayers. I keep asking that the God of Jesus Christ, our glorious Father, will give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation so you may know him better.
That you may know
Thank you, and go in peace.